Okay, guys, it's like 3 fucking a.m., but I'm so intrigued by the story right now. I feel like something big is about to happen. Like the episode is on its turning point right now. So couldn't go to sleep, and I'm just gonna do 1 more hour or so. A news ticker popped up on top of the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, flood, and wave warnings. I suddenly noticed I don't actually know what municipality means. Municipality is a local administrative unit, such as a city. Okay. Fits my understanding. All over, continually sending out wave warnings. Okay. Of course, the raindrops beating harshly on the window were even more convincing. This rain's incredible. Still, when it's raining this hard, it also feels like it might stop at any moment. How are you so chill? Is Maria still out there in the rain? You wish. They said the typhoon's moving slow, so it might be like this all day tomorrow. And even a little bad weather stops the boats from coming. Looks like we won't be able to head out on Sunday after all. Just in case, I cleared all outside business from my Monday schedule, and I'm glad I did. Which means, looks like we'll get to skip school Monday. Fucker, ask about Maria, okay? Living on an island starts to sound pretty good. Come to think of it, Jessica, you've got to take a boat to school every day, don't you? Oh, she does go to school. What do you do when the boats stop running? You stay home when it rains and show up late when the wind's blowing, like King Kamehameha? Is that what he does? If the boats won't come, I stay home. Still, it's not as good as it sounds. Usually I'm ordered to study by myself, and it's not that fun with someone standing right behind you watching everything you do. Who does that? One of the servants or your mom or your dad? During the rainy season, does the weather ever stay bad for a long time? It makes you miss a bunch of days in a row? It does happen sometimes. Still, I'd get a call from my homeroom teacher every single day. Would sourly guide me on how I should teach myself and what I had to turn in. She can't skip school as easily as you're imagining, Battler-kun. You just gotta follow the rules for people that travel to school by boat and get a good amount of studying done. Okay. It'd actually be easier to just go to school. In my own room, I get distracted and can't concentrate. After being made to do nothing but workbooks for several days straight, it's pretty hard to handle all the mental stress. When I get into college, I really just want to go to some dorm and quickly say goodbye to this inconvenient island. Okay, by the way, what do you do when the weather's good in the morning, but then gets so bad on your way home that the boats are closed? You spend the night at school? That actually happens a lot. Because of that, we built some lodging there for people who can't get back to the island they live in. That's where you spend the night. Sometimes, when it gets really bad, you can't get back home for a few days at a time. It's actually quite interesting. A few years ago, I went to this small island, I think outside of Auckland, I want to say. I think it was Auckland in New Zealand. The small island that has like 3,000 people or something that live on it. And it's like a small town with like a supermarket, like a Costco or something. And it makes me wonder. So it sounds like a lot of people who live there every day take like a boat to go to Auckland to work. And there are kids who go to Auckland for school. But there also is a very small school on the island as well. It's a very different way of living than what I'm used to. But it must be... Yeah, I'm completely off topic. Let me get back to the game. Someone commuting to school. I work on a train packed to twice its capacity and might carelessly think that commuting by boat would be pretty interesting and fun. But it sounds like it comes with troubles of its own. You hear thoughtless tourists say stuff like that all the time. You've had enough of island life. Really want to just graduate high school and say goodbye to this island. There are all dorm schools even for high school, right? Why'd you choose that Nijima school of all places? I wanted to go to one of those from the beginning. So she goes to school on Nijima, which is still an island. Imagine you're on your tiny island. You take a boat to go to school, which is still a small island. Yes, I'm not sure if Nijima is small. Nijima. Yeah, it looks pretty small. But mom's always going on about how I need to learn manners and discipline as the successor. So I ended up sticking close to home even for high school. Man, I hate this island. I just want to go live in a city. I don't care if rain or even spears fall from the sky. As long as I can move to a city where I can wear casual clothes and sandals. Sandals? I can get to a convenience store in less than 5 minutes. Hold out just a little longer, just a bit more, and you'll graduate high school, right? I can't wait a little longer. What? What does that mean? What do you mean you can't wait a little longer? Jessica stretched out and reclined in the sofa. Can you guys care about Maria a bit? Or at least tell me about what Maria's doing, if you know? Maybe it was a bad time slot, because there weren't any interesting programs on, and we had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. I've never seen... only seeing languish. I did not know there's an adjective or adverb. After that episode, Maria never returned to the cousin room after all. Is she even in the guest house? Aunt Rosa probably took her back to the mansion. Probably? It had to be pretty boring for Maria, all by herself while the adults had a confusing conversation. Dude, something's gonna happen to her. We thought we might as well head over to the mansion to see her, but the weather really was awful. And since there wasn't much time until dinner, we stayed where we were. At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered. Yes? Preparations for dinner are complete. Please come to the mansion. It was Kanan-kun's voice. Did he go to all the trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to get us? Do you have phones? In the 80s? You must have landlines. Can he have just called us on the telephone? Yeah. Well, I guess servants at work don't always get to take the most efficient route. Maybe it's seen as rude to just call. Just when I was getting hungry. Let's go. George Aniki turned off the television and stood up. You better not find that Maria's missing. I'm gonna be so mad at Rosa. My stomach's been growling for a while. I've always been a huge fan of the main family's dinners. Then Goda-san said it was calf steak or something. Oh, I can't wait. Our dinners are always even more fabulous than usual when the family conference comes around. Even now I'm looking forward to it. Let's go, let's go. After we left the room, Kanan-kun bowed silently and respectfully. Okay, let's go. Is the rain pretty nasty out there? Yes. Take care not to get your garments wet. Garments wet. Garments? Is garment a word? Garment. Nope, not a word. After seeing the three of us out, Kanan-kun peered into the empty room. Wasn't Maria-sama with you? No, she's not. Wasn't she with Aunt Rosa? Fuck you, dude. Rosa was lying on the sofa in the empty parlor, having fallen asleep before she knew it. What the fuck? She was bearing a burden that the children couldn't even imagine. That's why she only needed to let her guard down a little, before the weariness immediately dragged her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When she tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as though she'd been shocked with electricity. Ah, thank you, Genji-san. When she realized that the thing that had touched her was just a blanket and that Genji had been considerately giving it to her, she let out a sigh of relief. Did I wake you? My sincere apologies. No, it's okay. I hadn't planned on sleeping in the first place. What time is it now? When he was asked for the time, Genji checked the pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket. It's slightly after 6 p.m. Rosa gave her head a little shake when she realized that not much time had actually passed, even though it felt like she slept for ages. Some of these afternoon sleeps are just fucking horrible. I don't know why. The worst feeling is waking up from an afternoon nap and find out it's like 5 p.m. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that enveloped her must have been pretty deep. Thank you, I'll be fine without a blanket. Think about your daughter, okay? Must asleep at such a strange time. My sense of time has been completely thrown off. The rain has finally started pouring down in earnest, hasn't it? Rosa finally realized that the peaceful sound that had put her to sleep was actually the rain. The wind is blowing hard too. I wonder if the typhoon's finally here. How long would it take before you remember your daughter? So they say on TV the typhoon's moving slowly, so they think it will be like this all day tomorrow. Really? So our last chance to see that wonderful rose garden must already have passed by. From the window, what she could see of the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and the rain. Maria, that's right. What about Maria? Okay, you finally remember. I've not seen her. Did she not return to the guest house? Okay, music comes in. Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, so a chill ran down her spine. Maria was stubbornly honest, and if she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever, even in pouring rain. No, the cousins left before I did, so Maria was alone. Unless someone told her to stop, she stayed there even if it started raining spears. Without even opening an umbrella. Ah, how could I have lost control of my emotions and done such a thing? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Even though she'd known about Maria's simple honesty better than anyone, she'd once again lost control of her emotions and done something terrible. Maria! Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hill. She better be okay. The outside really looked like a typhoon, and the rain was pouring down spectacularly. Maybe because of some aspect of the terrain, the winds weren't typhoon class, so an umbrella wouldn't be torn out of one's hands. Even so, it certainly was a windy rain. There was no time to admire the roses being drenched. Anyway, I'm getting pretty worried about Maria. You don't think she's still rebelliously searching for that rose alone, do you? I wonder, surely she wouldn't do this in this rain. Or at least I wish I could believe that, but Maria-chan sometimes get really stubborn, intensely straightforward. You guys, when it started to rain, you should have... Okay, anyway, there's no point in getting mad at characters. I didn't worry much, thinking that Aunt Rosa had taken her back to the mansion. However, when Kanun-kun had come from the mansion to call us and thought Maria was there, we got a little worried. I did not see her in the mansion. I did not. So I was sure she was here. After all, Rosa-sama was taking a nap. Fuck! I didn't see her on your way over here. My apologies. I opened my umbrella and ran as fast as I could, so I did not pay much attention. You are the eye, aren't you? If he had cut through the rose garden, taken the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house, he would have just barely missed the place where Maria had been looking for her rose. And it was raining this hard too. It certainly wouldn't be possible for Kanun-kun to fail to notice her. It certainly would be possible. Instead of arguing around here, it'd be faster to just check it out directly. Aniki, why don't we race over there? Yeah. Oh, do you think you can beat me? Now that you've been growing for 6 years? Okay, let's settle this. Go! George, Aniki and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Kanun followed us. Maria, if you're there, answer me, Maria! It's Aunt Rosa. Hey, Aunt Rosa. When George Aniki called back, Aunt Rosa jumped at him and grabbed onto him. Where's Maria? Isn't she with you? No, we didn't meet with Maria-chan after that. Maria! 6 years ago, Maria was 3 years old. She was a cute and pure kid who would just accept whatever anyone said. The 6 years have passed since then. She's 9 now, experiencing the ups and downs of life. Should have taught her something. But Maria, are you telling me you're still as innocent and pure as you used to be? It's not about innocence and purity, it's... Maria, as I circled the rose bed, something white unexpectedly turned to face me. It was a white umbrella. Maria was crouching down, holding a white umbrella and still searching for that rose. Oh my god, thank fucking god. Ooh, her face, which had turned bright red from crying her eyes out, was dirtied with water and mud. It was a truly pitiful sight. Maria, are you still looking? Ooh, can't find it. Can't find my rose. Ooh, Maria had probably been there since the rain started pouring down. Her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she wasn't completely soaked. The umbrella probably came from the handbag Maria always carried around. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness. Butler-kun, thank goodness you found her. Maria! I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Aunt Rosa threw her umbrella aside and hugged Maria. It's not here. My rose isn't here. Ooh. I'll look for it with you later, okay? So just put it on hold for today, okay? Ooh, put it on hold for today? It looked like Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had enough energy left to resist. Who gave her the umbrella? Jessica and Kanun-kun caught up with us. I'll have a towel ready in the mansion immediately. Maria, were you here this whole time? I'm sorry for being such a bad mother. Aunt Rosa, why don't we head back to the mansion for the time being? If we stay here, Maria will catch a cold. You're right. Maria, let's go. If we don't get you cleaned up, grandfather will be mad. Ooh, hungry. It's already time to eat. You did a good job holding out, Maria. Once the weather gets better, we'll all go search together. We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as worn out as I thought. She remembered we were having calf steak for dinner. She started chanting, I'm hungry, ooh. We returned to her usual spirited self. Oh my god, I'm so glad. Aunt Rosa didn't chide Maria for saying ooh. I see. So she had an umbrella on her. Maria sure is good at packing the right stuff. Ooh, I didn't bring an umbrella, ooh. What? Then how did you get that white umbrella you're holding? Ooh, I borrowed it. Some caring person must have brought her an umbrella. What the fuck? Normal kid will look for shelter once it started raining, but Maria was too stubborn to give up so easily. Did she get the umbrella from the witch? Or from the invisible prisoner of the mansion? So maybe that caring person gave up on telling Maria to find shelter, then decided to at least give her an umbrella. I see, I'll have to thank that person. Who was it? Ooh, Beatrice. Ooh my god. The name Maria cheerfully mentioned was that of the island's witch. Rosa took a deep breath. Okay, I'm getting chills. And asked again, trying to do so in a way that wouldn't damage Maria's good mood. Really, that's wonderful. So, who was it? Who brought you the umbrella? Beatrice. Ooh. Maria immediately realized that her mother didn't believe her and started crying out happily again. So Rosa stopped pursuing the subject. It'd probably be faster to ask whoever lent Maria the umbrella during dinner rather than ask Maria herself. Can you ask about like a descriptor? What does she look like? Something like that. Father, please at least join us for dinner. It won't be a family conference otherwise. Along with the doll pounding on the door, the sound of crows maybe? Cross? Cross, let's say cross. The sound of cross and entreaty? Entreaty, meaning
Entreaty.
entreaty. Cross entreaty could be heard. However, the voice seemed to be resigned to the fact that nothing it said would be heard. Kinzo-san, won't you at least come out for dinner? All your children have gathered here to see your face, haven't they? Silence, Nanjo. So the bishop won't work. One move too short. Apparently, Kinzo's completely focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. Kinzo's brows wrinkled as he continued to glare at the game board through his spectacles. How long does the game take? It's not done much between lunch and dinner. Isn't that enough time to finish your whole game? Cross voice didn't reach his ears. Kinzo-san, I'm hungry myself. Why don't we go down and eat? Go by yourself, if that's what you want. Is he shy? What the fuck? Let me consider this next move for a little longer. We're going to finish it tonight. I feel like he's like a different person in front of, depending on who's with him. Like he seems only selfish or something. And he just seems like a simple, awful person when he's around Canon. But Canon or Genji. But when other people's around, he seems like an awful person who's also lost his mind. We're going to finish it tonight. Otherwise, it's doubtful we'll finish before the world ends. The chess game doesn't take that long. Nanjo rose from his seat, hoping this would prompt Kinzo to do the same. But Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a blind concentration when it came to chess. He'd never seen Kinzo concentrate as hard as this. It was almost as though Kinzo was telling the truth. And there would never be another chance for them to continue their contest if they didn't finish tonight. What the fuck? It seemed that no matter how obstinately he called out to Kinzo, it wouldn't reach the latter's heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Cross was still banging on. The door to the study opened. Cross was taken aback, thinking that maybe Kinzo was actually coming out. However, Nanjo was the one who appeared, and Cross let out a sigh of relief. Dr. Nanjo, his father. I'm sorry I couldn't be of service. Right now, this room's Kinzo-san's whole world. Nanjo shook his head with a completely defeated expression. Cross raised his fist once more and banged on the door, shouting, Father, can you hear me? We're heading down now, but please join us at any time if you feel like it. All of your children are waiting for you. His voice was very loud, and he was making a racket pounding on the door. When do you get chill? Like you hear stories about these really strict father types who get chill when they have grandchildren. Why is Kinzo still not chill? What does he need to become chill? There was no way it wouldn't reach Kinzo's ears. Well, it certainly was reaching him, but he ignored it anyway. However, unlike the time he'd been called down for lunch, he didn't fly into a rage. By now, Kinzo was calm at heart, almost as though he had taken on a philosophical view and turned himself over to fate. What? Okay, so he like quote unquote started the ritual, and I guess it's now just waiting for some big thing to happen. And so he's personally out of the situation's out of his hand now, and he becomes slightly chill because of that. Neither dinner nor the faces of my children interest me in the slightest. I will only leave here if Beatrice is resurrected, if I'm chosen as a sacrifice for the key. What the fuck? The demon's roulette has already started spinning. What meaning does dinner have at this point? But you still eat, right? As though the painfully loud banging on the door completely failed to enter his hearing, Kinzel silently thought about his next chess move, still in his philosophical state. Just as always, Kinzel's figure couldn't be seen anywhere in the dining hall. Cross, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo. Father says he still is not feeling well. He truly regrets missing his once-a-year opportunity to sit together with his gathered family. Eva and Rudolph snickered. Given Kinzo's personality, there was no way to show sign of regret, and none of his relatives show any regret at his absence. Then why don't we start dinner? Goda, begin. Certainly. Well then, if you will allow me. When Goda was told to start a family conference dinner, his biggest time to shine of the whole year, he nodded with a broad grin. May I ask, who lent Maria an umbrella? Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall. Everyone noticed. An umbrella? What's this about? A short while back, Maria was in the rose garden when it started raining, and she apparently borrowed a white umbrella from someone. Wanted to thank them. It wasn't one of us. After you left, we moved to a different room and had a friendly chat the whole time. Haha, that's right. Even after that, the siblings had a real friendly chat. The word friendly fell awkwardly from Hideyoshi's lips, so even those who hadn't been present could tell the conversation had been a pleasant one. At the very least, it couldn't have been me, Eva, Rudolph, Hideyoshi-san, or Kirie-san. We were together the whole time, even after Natsuhine-san and Rosa-san left. The whole time until the meal started. When did Rosa left? Why did she left? Why did she leave? Nisa went up to the study with Genji-san to call father. At that time, the rest of us went straight to the dining hall. So it wasn't one of us. Couldn't it have been a servant kind enough to lend an umbrella? So was it you, Goda-san? I have been in the kitchen the whole time preparing. My sincere apologies. Goda looked slightly disappointed with missing this chance to show off, dude. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a servant car loaded with... What is that? Horse door pronunciation. Hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres. Or. Second sounds exactly like the word d'oeuvres. That's a word? Hors d'oeuvres. I fucking don't know what that is. Then what about Kumasawa-san or Shannon-chan? Yes? Has something gone wrong? Because Shannon had come in part way, she shrank back, mistakenly thinking that the others were searching for the one responsible for some error. Isn't like that. It started to rain when Maria-chan was alone in the rose garden. After that, someone lent her an umbrella, and Rosa said she wanted to thank that person. Ooh, Beatrice. Maria, her mouth a thin line, said the witch's name in a small voice. When Rosa explained the situation one more time, as she did, Kumasawa-san cackled. Oh, it wasn't us. Shannon-san and I were preparing the rooms together, so we didn't all go outside. Yes, I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of assistance. Preparing the rooms? What do you mean by that? Because of the rain, we thought it would be troublesome for all of the guests to return to the guest house, so the servants were ordered to prepare the guest rooms inside the mansion. Really, how thoughtful. Yes, it certainly could be rude to chase us out in this rain. Could you give it a rest? Yes, after receiving the order from Madame, Kumasawa-san, Kanun-kun, and I started preparing the rooms. I like Natsuhi. Like, even though she's given so much shit, she's still, like, I'm not even gonna say thoughtful, but she's, like, doing her job as, like, what did she say? Like, the one who's in charge of the kitchen or some shit, but like, well, basically being a good host. Then it became time for dinner, so Genji-sama ordered Kanon-kun to go to the guest house and summon the children. Yes, so the Kanon-san find Maria on the way to the guest house and hand her the umbrella. Ooh, wrong! The person who had actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give a word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them, and she thought asking this with everyone gathered for dinner would work immediately. Then, was it you, Natsuhine-san? I'm sorry, after everyone's friendly chat, my headache was so bad that I had been resting in my room. She's so strong, man. Like, after that, she can just bounce back and talk to everyone as if nothing happened. Therefore, I did not go outside. Then who was it? George Quinn and the kids? That can't be right. No, it wasn't us. We were watching television in the guest house the whole time. Actually, we thought Maria had just gone back to the mansion with you. Then Kanun-kun came and he asked whether Maria was with us. That's when we first realized she wasn't in the mansion. I mean, if it were me, I'd have grabbed her hand and put her under a roof before giving her an umbrella. Rosa was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and the servants denied that they had done it. Even though it really wasn't something anyone would need to hide. So by process of elimination, the number of remaining candidates wasn't large. Of course, it wasn't me. Right after it began raining, I visited Kinzo-san's room, and I was playing chess with him until just now. Which means that it also wasn't grandfather. Wait a second, isn't this starting to get a bit weird? Who's left? Then who was it? Genji-san? Huh? Wait a second, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm searching for some culprit or anything. What I want to do is, as a mother, thank the person who gave Maria an umbrella in the middle of the rain. Giving an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why not? Everyone started whispering about how strange this was getting. Calm down, Rosa. Why don't we just ask the person who was lent the umbrella? That's what everyone had been thinking since the beginning. They were all scratching their head at why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lower lip. After all, she already knew how Maria would answer if asked. Of course, Rudolph-kun here's got it right. Maria-chan, tell your uncle who lent you the umbrella. Beatrice! The dining hall was wrapped in silence for an instant, but it was soon interrupted by a burst of laughter. Ha ha ha, I see, so Beatrice, the witch of the forest, felt pity and lent her an umbrella. What a lovely story. Rosa, there you have it. Rosa couldn't believe it. Even though she just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella, why did everything have to be so cloudy in smoke? Ooh, just like Uncle Cross said, Beatrice let me borrow it. Ooh. Ha ha ha, isn't that wonderful? We should all be jealous for such purity. What do you think, everyone? Ha ha ha. Cross was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking, but Maria was overjoyed, apparently convinced that her claim was being believed. Like, coming from anyone else, like, if anyone else laughs, it could just be like It could just be laughing at the fact that a kid is being a kid, and that's amusing. But I feel like coming from Cross here for some reason, it just sounds like he's like making fun of Maria for being dumb. Like, or like making fun of Rose, like fucking look at your 9-year-old daughter who acts like a 3-year-old. How did that work? Does that mean a witch really appeared and lent her an umbrella? Jessica asked me in a small voice that couldn't carry over to Maria, who was sitting across from. Has Maria ever been the type to make jokes? If we heard that kind of story pop out of my old bastard's mouth, we would have just taken it as another joke. However, it was hard to explain it away like that when Maria says it. This was getting pretty unnerving. No way, she's always been frank and serious. She's the sort who never believe any joke, even ones normal people could instantly tell were lies. Never heard of her, and never even heard of her cracking a joke. And Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that because of this weird situation, she had no idea what was going on anymore. So if Maria says she's borrowing an umbrella from Beatrice, it must mean it really was Beatrice? We're talking about Maria here, so I can't think of it as some kind of metaphor or joke. It might be best to take what she says at face value. And what's going on? Are you saying Genji-san or someone put on a fancy dress from the portrait and gave Maria the umbrella? I'm not sure about that. Actually, that's what I want to know. Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression didn't completely match her attitude. What's the... how do you say that again? Oysters? I'm just not gonna say it. We're set out and Gora showed off his vast store of knowledge. The meal began. A couple casual chats. I'm kind of surprised we aren't show Gora's speech here, but I guess it might be distracting if we're gonna keep going with the Beatrice mystery. A couple casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somewhat distant, and the meal ended up being so quiet that you couldn't ignore the sound of rain sneaking into the dining hall. I mean, it's actually kinda... Gora is kinda enviable, I feel like. Like in this situation where everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? He's still like single-mindedly focused on showing off. And just be happy with that. It's kinda enviable. Kumasawa and Shano, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Kano on their way to the kitchen. Oh, it's Genji-san. Did you lend Maria-san an umbrella? An umbrella? What are you talking about? Well, I heard that when it started raining, Maria-sama was alone in the rose garden. It seems she borrowed an umbrella from someone there, but we don't know who it was. It wasn't me. After all, I actually thought Maria-sama was in the guest house. When Battler-sama first found her, she was already holding a white umbrella. My apologies, but it was not me either. Then, could it actually be Beatrice? Both in the dining hall right here, everyone has stated that they hadn't done it. They left only Kinzo, but maybe he went walking down the corridor for some reason when he just happened to see Maria-sama in the rose garden without even an umbrella. The master is not particularly fond of Maria-sama. Yeah, thought she was obscene, I think was the word. I agree. I can't imagine that for Maria-sama's sake, he'd go to all of the trouble of descending the stairs with an umbrella. Oh my, how troublesome. Does that mean the one who lent Maria-sama an umbrella really was Beatrice-sama? Oh. Kumasawa laughed, just like the relatives in the dining hall who had laughed off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke veiling the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. They all turned around at once to see Goda coming out of the dining hall. Okay, everyone. When serving a dinner, proper timing. I thought he was gonna, like, seeing nobody claimed it, he's gonna say, okay, guys, it's actually me. Proper timing while setting the table is essential. Please immediately see to setting out the soup. Genji-san. The women are in the middle of an important job, so please don't get in their way. What? Kanon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a person Kanon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Kanon once on the shoulder as a warning. Kanon reluctantly turned away and returned his expression to normal. Obey Goda's instructions. Hurry up and prepare the dinner table. Come on, there's no time. Don't waddle. Dawdle? Dawdle. Dawdle. Hurry, I'm learning so many words. Gotta grab the serving cart from Shannon and steadily pushed it towards the kitchen. Then please allow us to return to the kitchen. After all, Goda-san's temper is very short. Please excuse me as well. Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Kanon remained. Through the window, the darkness of rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt. Genji-sama, did Beatrice-sama really return? I don't know. Return? Shall I inform the master? That is not necessary. If she truly has returned, she will eventually appear before the master of her own accord. They know something about her. Furthermore, she is a fickle person. It will be pointless to report to the master only to find that she does not appear. I wonder if this means the master's ceremony has already begun. Oh, they know. Probably. However, it has nothing to do with furniture like us. Okay. So, are they like saved from being chosen as sacrifice? By being furniture? We must continue to return the favor we received from the master until our final moments. Okay. I guess they're just ready to be sacrificed. How strange. Yes, that is furniture's duty. The thunder crashed once more. Except for those instants where lightning lit up the sky, nothing could be seen out the window but the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, those that are not human rule when the sun is down. The darkness of night that now surrounded Rokkenjima was ruled by another master, not the Ushinomiya family. Did this master take pity on Maria when she was alone and being pummeled by the rain in the rose garden, lending her an umbrella? Kanon looked at the rose garden's lights, dimly visible beyond the window. The dim lights weren't enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch, and Kanon forced himself to avert his gaze. Huh. If he didn't, it felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. Can the weather change how people act? You often hear stories about how things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. For some time now, everyone had been struggling to clear the gloomy atmosphere. Any conversation was quickly cut off. In the end, the dining hall was simply filled by the sound of the rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake accompanied by pear sherbet. I don't know what that is. Sherbet? I'm gonna guess it's pronounced sherbet. Pronunciation.
Sherbet.
Sherbet?
Sherbet.
Sherbet. I don't know. Okay. Koda-san enthusiastically explained the recipe as soon as his final dish was presented, but I quickly forgot the details. The guest of honor, grandfather, was absent, the weather was horrible, and the identity of one who lent Maria an umbrella remained a mystery. When dinner ended, no one felt even one bit refreshed. It was too late now, but I realized painfully the taste wasn't the only important part of a meal. The whole atmosphere was also critical. Koda-san, the supposed conductor of his musical piece called Dinner, did his best to enliven the place, dropping little jokes left and right, but apparently no one of them succeeded. After taking orders for after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. Damn, I could go for some OJ right now. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Crossbeak. My, what a waste that dinner Goda worked so hard to create has met with such a gloomy atmosphere. Yes, absolutely. It just feels like nothing would taste good today. Huh. I'd like to know why you feel that way. Later on, I'll do all I can as your older brother to help cheer you up. Eva grimaced slightly. I'd always heard she wasn't on good terms with Uncle Cross, but it was pretty clear now. When I looked around, I noticed that my father and Aunt Rosa were also grimacing. Apparently, there was something besides the weather troubling all of them. Both Aunt Eva and my dad aren't looking so too happy. Really, I don't think so. I asked Aunt Nasi, who was sitting on my right, but she seemed to be in a bad mood as well. She snapped back as if to say she was absolutely not interested. Well, our adult conversation got a little complicated. Isn't something kids like you need to worry about, Balakun? Ha ha ha. Isn't that right, Nasi-san? Kirie-san? Uncle Hideyoshi laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness, so I could vaguely imagine just how complicated their adult conversation had become. On top of that, even Onatsuki and Kirie-san, the people he had directed his comments to, ignored him as though they hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they'd been having while us kids were away, but it reminded me of how Dad said he had stomach cramps when he arrived at the mansion. The family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but it was definitely different from for the adults. After Uncle Hideyoshi's comments were ignored by the other adults and an awkward silence fell over the room, Kirie-san spoke up. We're talking about how the kids' careers would turn out. Okay. Such as what lies in your future, Battler-kun? Will you just drift on to college? Wouldn't that be a little disheartening as a starting line for the long race of life? Huh? What's wrong with going to college? Hey, wait a sec. Kirie-san, if you start talking about something like that in the middle of a meal, wouldn't digest well. We'll all end up getting constipated. Ah, that's right. We're talking about Battler-kun and Jisuka-chan's careers. You've got to think seriously about the future. Hideyoshi heartily agreed as if they really had been talking about that, but that was probably wrong. Kirie-san had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, Kirie-san had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Aunt Eva and Dad's bad moods. At long last, the serving car returned, filled with coffee and tea. Kumasawa-san and Shannon-chan served it to everyone. Koda-san then explained that this concluded tonight's meal. If only the mood had been a bit more cheery, it might have been the best dinner in my life. It was a shame that best of dinners couldn't have been under the best conditions. Ooh, Jojo-ni-chan, is dinner over now? Over? Yes. With this, dinner is finished. Don't be rude, stay in your seat and calmly drink up. Ooh, Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasional crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She is like a tiny witch. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George Aniki the dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took out her handbag, which she set under her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, and began fishing around inside of it. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. What's that? Where'd you get it? George was the first one to notice it. As he spoke, Battler noticed too. They saw that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Ushinomiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with dark red wax made it clear that this wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank. Maria-chan, what is that? It seemed that Natsuki had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. Her voice sounded too serious for someone admonishing a small child. Okay, wait a second. Like, we're not speaking from Battler's POV right now. Why is that? So the relatives around us finally noticed too. What happened, Natsuki-san? What is that? Maria, where did you pick that up? That envelope has Kinzo-san's. Nanjo muttered that, even as kids, could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Ushinomiya family head's custom-made envelope for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope contained a message from Kinzo. Oh, what is an envelope like that doing here? Now, that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. Just let me have a peek. Ooh, no way, I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone. Holy, the witch's making moves. Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out from Maria's hands, but she protected it, as though hugging it, and didn't let go. Hideyoshi-san, you can't use force against a child. Maria-chan, where did you get this envelope? Ooh, I got it from Beatrice when she gave me the umbrella. She told me to read it to everyone after the meal was over. Oh, that's why she... I'm the witch's messenger. Ooh. Messenger? Hehe. The almighty witch of the island sure likes to mess around. Battler tried to joke about it, but no one laughed yet. I wonder what's written inside of it, Maria-chan. Ooh, gonna read it. Alright, let's fucking go. Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. The sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it in the center of the table where Natsuki, Kirie, and Nanjo stared at it. Imprinted in the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Ushinomiya family crest, and also Kinzo's personal crest. This is the family head's personal crest. I know it from letters I've received from Kinzo-san before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal. But aren't there several things in this mansion bearing that crest? For example, there was some kind of stamp for wax sealed. Couldn't someone other than Kinzo-san have used it? No, Kinzo-san would always use a ring on his finger as proof of the Ushinomiya family headship when he sealed that wax. Okay, but he threw that into the rain. This shape and complex design is definitely Kinzo-san's seal. That's not necessarily so. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Aniki. No matter how much the seal resembles that, we can't prove that it's the real thing. So it doesn't prove this envelope came from him. I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrarily deciding that this letter came from father based solely on the wax seal. They're all just concerned that one of the other siblings is like trying to do some funny business. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words? I apologize. It was not my place to speak. One after another, all of the siblings from cross to downward From cross-on downward, rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kinzo. They were afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts that Kinzo's intentions were written in there, and there might be some announcement regarding their inheritance that would be decidedly unfavorable to them. Maria, the person who gave you that envelope, was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right? Ooh. I don't know what ooh means. Is it true? Ooh. Yes. Ooh. So in other words, the witch, Beatrice, gave Maria the envelope along with the umbrella. Ooh. Maria nodded forcefully. I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed over by some suspicious person. Isn't even worth reading. There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right? Butler said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Nasi heard him clearly and glared at him with threatening eyes. And then, Beatrice told you to read after the meal was over, right, Maria? Ooh. It's okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it, why can't we just hear what's inside before we decide? I like Kilie. That's right. Even if father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria-chan, I'm sorry I tried to take it from you by force earlier. I apologize. So will you read it aloud in front of everyone? Maria, read it. Ooh. As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle. You think it really did come from Dad? Impossible. Whenever father has announced something to us in the past, he would always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, correct? I cannot believe that he would use such a joke-like approach. That's right. Maria, a messenger? That definitely doesn't suit father's tastes. Rosa, could this be Maria-chan trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show? Maria isn't really a kid who'd be capable of something so thoughtful. Can I read it? Ooh. Is she good at reading, or is she like me? The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason her voice seemed different from usual. Everyone went suddenly silent. Huh. Is she gonna be like, act like she's possessed by the witch? It's so cool. Welcome to Lokenjima, members of the Ushinomiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist of this family employed by Kinzo-sama himself. Okay, this theme is throwing me off a bit. I thought something more sinister is gonna play, but this is jolly. What the fuck? An alchemist, of course, because she created gold. Ha, that's crazy. Quiet. I've served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. And Maria just speaks normally now when she reads the letter. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth. What the fuck? Okay, this is really cool. What the fuck? How foolish. What nonsense. I cannot stand to listen to it. And now there's one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Okay. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushinomiya family as interest. Okay. Ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it sound just like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract has expired, so they've come to collect the interest. Is she trying to grab some retirement money from her old age or something? What a cheeky witch. Bella-kun, now's not the time to joke around. Battler as the only, like, essentially family outsider. I think he's the only person who, like, truly doesn't really care about if all of the family fortune is taken away. Battler made a face as if to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale, while others looked dazed. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If and only if that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and the interest of all eternity. A special clause? What is this? What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the term of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushinomiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushinomiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourself by examining the imprint on the wax seal. Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind this seal? That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Crow stare at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. Eva and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo-san's finger. Dr. Nanjo, don't say something so careless just because of vague memory. We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring, and whether this letter tells the truth. That's right, it's just as Kirei-san says. Do you really think Kinzo-san would tell you? After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense. No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk about that gold from the rest of you. But this is the witch speaking, right? About how the inheritance and all of the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama is Father's legal advisor or in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts such suspicious paper to a kid. Your child. Aniki, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No, that's impossible. As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It should be impossible for anyone to do that, to do as they please with them without me knowing it. So this must mean there are some assets you don't control, right, Krosny-san? How foolish. Such assets could not possibly exist. Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of Father that you don't control. There's no way such a thing could exist. No, it does. It's Father's Beatrice's hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. Ensure Dad has some trusted confidant that Aniki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or it could be some eccentric, rich person who offered him a loan, with rules like a devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant called Beatrice is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Huh. Kilia's question was one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had hung in the hall beneath the witch portrait for quite some time, and while it had long been whispered that whoever solved the puzzle could receive everything, no one had actually clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now, the thing they hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushinomiya family would be given to one who found the gold. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely prayed that this night would be both intellectual and elegant. Is it all gonna happen in one night? What about the whole 10 Twilights thing? Beatrice the Golden. Beatrice the Golden is a good name. Father, I know you can hear me. Please respond. The door to Kinzo's study was being violently, harshly beaten against over and over. Again, like a percussion instrument. The yells coming from the other side belongs to Cross, Rudolph, and sometimes Ava. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. It's kind of interesting that Rose is not in that. It's again the little bro energy, where on the one hand she doesn't need to be the one who does this kind of stuff, and on the other she's really not in position whenever she wants to go against the older siblings. Most of the siblings were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo's eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and a fabulous dinner that had adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence, wearing noise-cancelling headphones probably. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on and Kinzo's face. Everyone's calling for you, but what should I do? Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as a virtue. Should I silence them? There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Dude, he is so unbothered. Kinzo enjoys his food, apparently indifferent. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Kanon, who stood in reserve like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth. Maria-sama apparently received a letter from Beatrice-sama, so I imagine they want to test his authenticity. Hahaha. Has she started already then? What the fuck is this thing just actually just plainly supernatural? Come, Beatrice, I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. What is your relation with Beatrice? If I could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. What is he trying to do? It would sound like the witch wants to collect the interest, and the children is in this game to retain the fortune. And so that is a pair of opponents. But Kinzo wants something different. She wants her smile. I don't really know what that means, I guess. Could be figurative. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Noir? Rouge? Or house take all? Come, you may begin, Beatrice. I'll show you the power of miracles once more. He showed her the power of miracles one time before? I guess, like, in his youth, he, like, won. He won against Beatrice in a gamble in some way. And he's saying that was the first miracle. What the fuck? It's about to be 5 a.m. I couldn't possibly keep going. Can I possibly stop here, though? Oh my god. What did I get myself into? Okay, I'm gonna do a bit more just to see what this next chapter is like. The strange letter that the witch had entrusted to Maria wiped all memories of dinner from our minds. Maria was repeatedly barraged with questions by Aunt Rosa and the other parents, and became increasingly ill-tempered when they refused to believe her. If we kids tried to butt in, they'd probably ignore us. Our parents were all stirred up, firing back and forth about the gold and the distribution of the assets, and completely forgetting that we were even there. I'd already guessed they'd been talking like this in the shadows, but I hadn't thought they'd be so blunt. It gave all of us kids a considerable shock. From what we could overhear, all the parents wanted more money as soon as possible. Back and forth about grandfather's inheritance, back and forth about the distribution of gold if it was found, about advance payments and cash. Actually, I should have made a save. It was so despicable, I could hardly bear to watch, even though one of them was my father. I mean, it's not like you had a lot of respect for him. It looked like Jessica felt the same way. I mean, it's not like she had a lot of respect. We left our seats without being asked to, and went to hang out somewhere well away from our parents. I get it. I totally see why grandfather hates coming down for meals. I'm so disillusioned with our parents right now. Dude, all that about money and the inheritance, I mean, how can they act like that right out in the open? Well, I'm already completely disillusioned with my old bastard. There's no way I could think any worse of him. Hehe. It's exactly the same for me. Still, that freaking shocked me. Shocked me to the core. Jessica looked down on the floor, irritated. She was always talking about how bad her parents were, but maybe she hadn't really felt that way deep inside. The depths of Jessica's shock made that clear. You're all minors, being supported by your parents, so you might not understand, but getting money is neither a simple nor a pretty thing. I won't try to force you to understand right now, since you're still kids. But even so, I want you to realize that your parents are just doing their best in their own way. Yeah, oh great, Georgiani's gotten all mature. Georgiani-san, I know you're working hard as a full-fledged member of society, but does that mean you turn into a shameless, greedy vulture like our parents whenever you start talking about money and assets? If it were only for my own benefit, then no, I wouldn't want to do that. However, when your family and your employees, your subordinates and their families are all counting on you, there are some times when you must fight. I hate that kind of fight. The back and forth about grandfather's inheritance just makes me want to puke. Jessica pretended to spit violently. The harsh reaction made the depth of her pain very, very clear. Let's stop talking about this. All this about grandfather's hidden gold, property, and inheritance is our parents' problem, not ours. I agree. At the very least, I think children have a duty to be considerate and stay out of their parents' way when they're talking together. Tch, sound pretty boring. Everyone knows the phrase adults are filthy. But we hadn't now seen that for ourselves, and that really did give us a considerable shock. Georgianiki was now pretty much an adult, and I'd already been disillusioned with my dad, so the shock wasn't that big for us. But Jessica seemed to be taking it hard. Apparently, she'd received a bigger blow than I thought. She'd always talked badly about her parents, but it looked like she hadn't changed at all on the inside. Yeah, I understand that as well. Even though she's still a pure-hearted, delicate person who can't doubt others, I'm sure she respected her parents as much as much as anyone else does. And then her parents started raging about going money, inheritance, my money, right in front of all of the other parents and the children. It's no surprise she received such a shock from hearing that. Jessica-chan, please don't start hating your mother and father. I won't ask you to understand them, but at least don't hate them. I get it, just leave me alone for a bit. 6 years ago, I would keep taunting Jessica even after she got dejected. But I guess I really have grown over the last 6 years. I realized it'd be better to leave Jessica alone right now. Jessica suddenly looked away sulkily and left the parlor. She probably wanted to be alone for a while. I could do nothing but wordlessly watch her back as she left. Come to think of it, I wonder where Maria-chan went. She's probably pouting in front of a portrait. Maria truly looked up to witches, and she'd expected that coming in direct contact with Beatrice and receiving the letter as proof would surprise everyone and make them happy. However, the adults had doubted its authenticity, thoroughly bombarding Maria with questions and refusing to accept her story. Even for me, it wasn't hard to imagine how much that must have hurt Maria. We couldn't speak to Maria or Jessica. In the end, Joe, Johnny, and I just abandoned ourselves in the sound of the falling rain in the dark night. I wonder what's happening with that typhoon. Maybe there's something about it on the news. George Aniki started walking over to the corner of the parlor where the television was. He hadn't called me over, and I really couldn't have cared less where the typhoon was on the scene now. So without going over to the television, I loitered around the window. The wind hasn't picked up that much here, but I wonder if it's horrible over the sea. She's also really chill. I did hear about a severe storm warning on the weather report. Like, even though she's married to Rudolph, out of the three families, theirs is the only one where the financial trouble is kept away. Like, Rudolph got in trouble and he didn't tell her about it. And then even when she learned about it, she didn't like blow up or anything. She's the chillest out of all parents right now. Ah, Kilie-san. I take it those big talks between the adults are going smoothly, yeah? She seemed to catch the sarcasm. Kilie-san shrugged. I wonder if that stomachache of discussion will continue all night. It's not going to be fun. Well then, please enjoy playing vultures, to grandfather's property as much as you like. I feel sick. I'll agree with you on that. If I could just slip away like you, I'd do it. Unfortunately, I can't. Even if I'm not allowed to speak. My spouses have it pretty rough too. Kilie-san took a deep breath, smiling bitterly. That's right. They probably wouldn't let Kilie-san speak, since she only married into the family and comparatively recently as well. Still, as Dad's partner, she had no choice but to stay by his side and support him. Well, she's probably had to bear the full brunt of his mental pressure much more than me. I completely understand if she doesn't want to support him anymore because he like silently got into trouble and didn't tell her. I wasn't going to apologize, but realizing that I'd spoken too harshly, I cut the sarcasm from the time being. Well, actually, like, I understand if she wants to stop supporting him because of that, but like her choice to not do that and also be so chill is even more admirable, I think. So how does it look? Are they still stuck on the topic of the mysterious witch Beatrice? More or less. Those four siblings are always piling up secret agreements when they come together to discuss the division of grandfather's inheritance. They're saying that some unknown fifth person has appeared and is trying to make things even more complicated, and there's no way that'll make for a peaceful conversation. Just when you think they're snarling at each other, they'll set up a common front. Natsume-san's not the only one getting headaches. On the one hand, they all want a larger portion than the other siblings, so they're all rivals. On the other hand, they don't want 1 yen to be snatched up by anyone other than the siblings. So they're also all allies. I hadn't been told the details, but the siblings were apparently discussing how to protect their shares under various situations, setting up ceasefire agreements and rules to prevent anyone from getting an unfair advantage, even preparing to resort to legal action if absolutely necessary. That it would go this far to preserve their shares was so beyond disgusting that you just had to acknowledge their resilience. I don't know if it's that disgusting. It's certainly not pretty. Like, what are you supposed to do? So basically, Beatrice is like an assassin sent by grandfather. Well, you could say that. He probably wanted to scare the hell out of the children for talking about his inheritance without him. Who is this Beatrice, I wonder? If everything she claims is true, then she's a mysterious figure that no one knew about until today, and she also knows about grandfather's hidden gold. On top of that, she was even entrusted with the head's ring. I also feel like the siblings and the children are not grasping the whole situation because they think all that will be taken away is the fortune, but actually they might die. Their lives are part of the interest. She must truly have been trusted by him. Well, obviously, I don't think she's a witch riding around on a broom. There's no doubt she's a mysterious person who's earned the right to be called a witch. It's so, like, I want to stress how interesting it is that the letter's tone is completely different from how Kinzo frames the whole situation. Like, the letter is completely, it's like professional. And she calls herself the family alchemist. Like it's an legitimate trade or something. It's so cool. If only Maria-chan would go into more detail about that. Everyone's been smothering her, even though she's just a little girl. They really scared her, and some things they might have asked her. No, can't be. What? They really scared her, and some things they might have asked now can't be asked. What? I wonder if those people have even read The North Wind and the Sun. Okay. All we do know is that Maria received a letter from a person who took the name Beatrice. She sure is shy for a mystery person. Entrusting Maria with the letter and hiding away even now, when she could have just appeared and talked to us directly. Haha. Hey, Battler-kun, do you really think a person called Beatrice actually exists? Who knows? Doesn't it really seem like a false name? Like she's grandfather's representative? So she was given permission to take the name of the witch from his delusions? No, that's not what I meant. Right now, there's a total of 18 people here on Lokenjima. Do you think there's a 19th person? Ooh. Are there really a full 18 people on this island right now? Wondering about that, I began counting on my fingers, and it really did come out to that many. Okay. Yeah, this is the full 18 people list. Do you think that a 19th person exists? What exactly do you mean? Just what I said. The person who lent Maria the umbrella supposedly wasn't one of us 18. So it's natural to assume that a 19th person exists. And that this person lent Maria the umbrella? Well, yeah, sure looks that way. Then, where exactly is this person now? At the very least, she must have been on the island when it started raining. And ever since that time, the weather has grown progressively worse, so taking a boat out will be pretty much impossible. In that case, that person must still be on the island, hiding from the rain somewhere, and without any of us spotting her. True, we've all been randomly prowling around, all over the mansion and the guest house, but no one has bumped into a 19th person. But this island is huge. There might be other places to take shelter from the rain other than the mansion and the guest house. At about this time, I began to realize what direction Kilie's son's suspicions were taking us in. So she thinks it's one of the 18 pretending. Kilie-san was denying that a 19th person existed. Beatrice was one of us 18. In other words, she thought someone we knew we knew well was tricking us. If Beatrice is who she claims, she will surely be the most honored of guests, the most honored of confidants, trusted by grandfather. There's no way grandfather wouldn't give that kind of person a warm reception. She was surely having ushered into the mansion. However, we haven't seen anyone like that. Wait a sec. Isn't this line of reasoning a bit too hasty? Sure, no one spotted this person, but that doesn't mean you can't deny the possibility. You can deny the possibility that a 19th person exists, right? Maybe for some reason they landed on this island stealthily and have been hiding ever since. It's what they call a devil's proof. It's easy to prove that something exists. If this Beatrice appeared in front of us, and says hi, then it's settled. But it's impossible to prove that there's no 19th person. Yes, Lord-kun, your way of reasoning isn't bad. In our current situation, there isn't enough information to either accept or deny that a 19th person exists. But if you spin the chessboard around and think that way, we can deny the existence of a 19th person with near certainty. Spin the chessboard around? It's one of Kirie-san's favorite phrases. I've been influenced by those words and used them myself from time to time. When you get stuck trying to find a move in chess or shogi, then by spinning the board around and looking at everything from your opponent's standpoint, you can often see a strategy that'll give you the upper hand. It means turning things around and putting yourself in your opponent's shoes. You see? Let's say that a 19th person called Beatrice actually exists. The person must have managed, without being seen by anyone, to stealthily arrive on this island and remain hidden ever since. Maybe they had some reason, okay? In that case, why did they go to all of the trouble of appearing before Maria and handing her the letter? Really was a contradiction. If they had some reason for hiding themselves, then they should have stayed hidden the whole time. But even so, they appeared openly in front of Maria. Then, wait, Maria said it herself. She said a witch made her a messenger. Maybe that's because Maria was the youngest and looked the most obedient. Why would they need a messenger? If they just wanted a letter delivered to the family conference, they could have mailed it. If they mailed it to each of the 4 siblings, no one would be able to ignore it. There was no need for this person to carry it themselves and secretly deliver it by hand. Yeah. What did it say? Yeah, that does sound pretty weird. In the first place, if Beatrice existed and wanted to make her presence known to everyone, then she should have just openly presented herself to all of us. Despite that, she chose the vague method of appearing through a little girl called Maria-chan. Maria-chan only gave us a vague impression of who she was. Contradiction. Let's go a little deeper, shall we? She appeared in front of Maria, trying to give us an impression that a 19th person existed, and yet she still hasn't appeared before us and is hiding somewhere at this very moment. Think about those contradictions. You've got to keep those things in mind when you spin the chessboard around. In short, if a person wants to leave us with the impression that Beatrice exists as the 19th person, what might their goal be? If this person wanted to hide, then they wouldn't have made their presence known. And if they wanted to show themselves, they wouldn't have used the roundabout approach of entrusting someone with a letter. Which means, it's simple, Beatrice is one of the 18 people. That's why they want to create the illusion that there are more than 18 people. The 19th person was revealed so spectacularly. If someone were to profit from this, it wouldn't be some 19th person in hiding. It'd be one of the original 18 people. Very convincing, I gotta say. Of course, this reasoning is full of holes. If you turn over even a few of its premises, it'll simply fall apart. But I'm almost completely certain it's correct. It's starting to feel pretty creepy. Someone like Maria lent Maria the umbrella and handed her the letter. Supposedly none of the 18 did this, and yet Beatrice was hidden among those 18. What was this person planning, hiding their true form and pretending to be Beatrice? I suspected it might have been Maria-chan play acting, but the contents of the message were extremely complicated. It's hard to imagine Maria-chan writing that herself. However, I can't deny the possibility that Maria-chan's working together with someone. Wait a sec, Maria's a 9-year-old kid, right? What could she possibly be planning, and with whom? And what about her straightforward, overly honest, obedient nature? Yes, I also understand what kind of person Maria-chan is. But that's exactly why I think it's possible. That girl's a dreamer who can't help but look up to and blindly accept the existence of witches. So if the person appeared in front of her and claimed to be the witch Beatrice, Maria-chan would happily swallow it up, I think. So you're saying that if someone disguised themselves by wearing that fancy dress from the portrait, tricking Maria wouldn't be that hard? Of course, with that reasoning, all of us women would become the primary suspects. Anyway, who did Maria-chan encounter? Learning the details of that question will be the best key to solving this riddle. But this key has been firmly locked away inside Maria-chan's heart. Everyone denied the existence of the witch without listening to her, barraging her too much with questions about who Beatrice actually was. She probably won't open her heart to the adults now. In the dim hall, in front of the portrait of Beatrice, Maria was sobbing. Damn. Poor kid. No one believes I met Beatrice. Ooh. Even though I showed them the letter Beatrice gave, they still don't believe. What a difficult day for Maria, man. I feel so bad for her. Hick. Anyway, Maria-chan's holding the key. The key to whether Beatrice is one of the 18 people or 19th person. Maria's stubborn, right? When the girl gets angry, it's pretty hard to make her feel better. Bella-kun, I think a kid like you will be better at cheering her up than an adult like me. After she's feeling better, try asking. I know you don't care about all the back and forth about the inheritance, but don't you find this Western Mansion mystery situation exciting? She's so chill. Who in the world is this person who gave Maria-chan the letter? Makes your intellectual curiosity ache. You're actually pretty tough, considering you're still excited after being dragged through that endless money talk. Adults can be pretty amazing. I shrug, exasperately. I did notice something. Kilie noticed how dejected I was after overhearing our parents' turbulent discussion. I was probably trying to clear the air. At the very least, I recovered enough to voice my complaints. Yeah. She's such a cool stepmom in that way. She wasn't my real mother, so I never felt like calling her mom, but it did make me think she's a real adult. Hey brats, so this is where you were. Kilie, you really took your time fixing your makeup, didn't you? I think I'll make a habit of going out to touch up my makeup too. I'm sorry, a woman's makeup takes a long time. So? How's this discussion been without me? Hey, I'm sure everything was all peaceful and harmonious. Kilie-san poked the weak spot under my arm with her elbow. We decided to take a break to cool our heads a little. It looks like we'll be at it all night. Makes me want to cry. His way of talking hadn't changed, but he couldn't completely hide his fatigue. I couldn't say I was sympathetic, but he looked pitiful compared to his normal energetic self. Still, that rain's just awful. Really don't want to go back to the guest house. Looks like Natsuki-san set things up so we could spend the night here in the mansion. What do? We don't need to decide until you're done, right? If you run so low on energy that you can't return to our room, then we can take them up on their offer. You're right. We can think about it later. What about you, Battler? If I stayed, I'd just get in the way. I'll be nice and go back over there. I see. Will you go back soon? I don't know. It'll be lonely to head back by myself. I'll gather all the kids and we'll head out. Okay, you go do that. Damn, they're talking like a normal father and son. Also, Battler, you won't be going to sleep that easily tonight, right? Yeah, I'll probably be up talking with the cousins. Sounds like we'll be up all night. Is there a problem with that? I see. If you're still awake when the adults' discussion is over, I want to have a little talk as a family. A what? That doesn't sound like you. Apparently, Kilie-san was thinking the same thing. What are you talking about? She asked him in a small voice. It looked like Kilie-san didn't have a clue what that meant either. I also want to talk to you about it, Kilie. I'll tell you later, so don't ask now. Is this a flag? Is he about to die? I don't know anyone who neglects the concept of family as much as this old bastard. And now he's saying we're gonna have a talk as a family. Both Kilie-san and I couldn't help but get wide-eyed. Don't look so terrified. I'm the one who should be terrified, after all. At that point, this is probably just talking about how he messed up financially. He swallowed his words for an instant, even though putting on airs of importance wasn't much like my dad. You're freaking me out, Dad. Everyone in your family is gathered here now, right? Don't make a big deal out of it and spit it out. Tonight, I will probably be killed. What the fuck? There was a huge crash of thunder. What the fuck? It must have been really close. Dad's expression, brightly illuminated by the lightning, was burned into my eyes. Dad's face, which always looked so sure of itself, which always wore a taunting expression, was strangely frail in a way I couldn't really explain. It was so worn out that he looked like a different person. What? What are you talking about? That doesn't sound like you. Giggle. I agree. What happened? You look so timid all of a sudden. It's not like you. I'm gonna go fix my makeup too. Don't follow me. Dad turned away weakly. What the fuck is going on? After that, only Kilie and I were left, still wide-eyed. What did he say? Tonight he'll be killed? You don't think that mysterious letter scared him, do you? He's been watching too many serial murder movies. Kilie-san didn't answer my light-hearted words and continued to stare at my dad's disappearing bag. Battler-kun. When you told Rudolph-san to spill the beans right away, he left without telling us anything. Even though he said he had something to say to both of us, he didn't answer you. Why? Spin the chessboard around. What do you see? Well, when you said he wanted to talk but then couldn't, that's a contradiction. What, can you see something by looking from Dad's perspective? Giggle. Yes, I can see something. He wants to talk about something. However, he doesn't have the courage to bring it up. So it actually means chase after me, talk to me, and ask me about it yourself. By saying don't follow me actually means the opposite. What the fuck? Actually means follow me and force me to answer. Seriously, what a spoiled brat. What? Can you really call that reasoning? That's ridiculous. Why is Rudolph such a... Can great private and police detectives deduce the emotions and feelings between men and women? They can't, right? Figuring out the feeling of the opposite sex is even more advanced than exposing the tricks in difficult crime cases. Okay, so is she a detective? Or a cop? If you ask me, romance novels have much deeper mysteries than masterpiece mystery novels. Is this Ryukishi 07 peeking through? I see. Is that how it is? I'll stand alongside that spoiled brat. He normally loves to bluff, but tonight he's completely tired out from that heated discussion. He probably wants someone to lean on at that moment. And responding to that need is the role of his partner. Ha, sounds passionate. Then I'll leave that old bastard in your hands. Yeah, leave it to me. I called out to Kilie's departing back. Huh? What? I wanted to say thanks. Thanks to you, my gloomy mood has cleared up a lot. That's good. Communication is important. Damn. Damn. They're actually a good trio. Like, if it weren't for the fact that Rudolph apparently betrayed the battler's mom. After answering with a wink, Kilie followed after that. Natsu could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Sorry, the skin on my lip, on my lower lip, just like chipped. I was biting on it. It's bleeding a tiny bit. Now and then the thunder would crash, but this had no effect on her expression. She looked completely worn out. The discussion that had just taken place between the relatives in the dining hall was repeating itself inside Natsu's mind. Beatrice had proclaimed that in addition to the gold, all of the inheritance and property of the Ushinomiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. In other words, she planned to undermine the absolute guarantee that Cross, as the oldest brother, had to succeed the family head. Originally, the other siblings had absolutely no chance of inheriting the headship. To them, the proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable. It was obvious that they would accept it. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game, as he knew that the so-called 19th person Beatrice couldn't exist. Naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character used to pass a message that Kinzo had written himself. As proof, Kinzo had remained stubbornly neutral as to the letter's authenticity. He was completely ignoring these reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore. He had given up the head's ring. In short, Kinzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter held his own message. Most likely one of the servants had given Maria the letter. Yeah, that is a natural way to think about this. Where the dress from the portrait will be prepared. Okay, Kinzo had probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait will be prepared and someone, probably Shannon, will be made to wear it and dry and deliver the letter and the umbrella. By doing that, he could make it seem like the witch from the portrait actually existed. That still doesn't make sense though. If Kinzo wants something, he can just announce it. No, if anything, that alone was proof that Kinzo was behind all this. In that case, it was the same as Kinzo trying to butt in on siblings' private discussion. And Kinzo, by announcing that he'd give everything to the person who solved the riddle, could weaken Cross' overwhelming advantage. Now it was certain. Kinzo had eavesdropped on the siblings' discussion in the parlor earlier that day. I mean, he did, but... So he had known how Cross had staved off the attack by the other three. And to make the scales of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out a strange letter which benefited Cross' rivals. He was trying to push this crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position among the siblings because of her age, would join withdrawing with Ava and Rudolph. Then, with a 3-to-1 advantage, they'd be able to overwhelm Cross yet again and make their ridiculous theories get accepted by force. Okay. I don't really understand how she could think it's Kinzo when Kinzo could just do it in a normal way and there's nothing the siblings can... Or I guess her theory is that Kinzo's goal is just to fuck shit up. He just wants to see the siblings tear each other apart. And that's why he did all this stuff. Just to create this, like, potential where anyone could be the successor. But that still hinges on somebody finding the hidden gold. Okay, and if Natsu thinks that, it makes me think that she is for some reason convinced that there is hidden gold that is findable. So maybe Cross did already discover the gold or something. And by doing that, he gave him the power to resettle what had once been a nearly decided conflict. They now started repeatedly pressing Cross to pay them a large amount of money, using the condition that all of the siblings would guarantee Cross' position as the successor. Talk about advance payments was being brought up again, despite having been rejected once. I feel like if Kinzo wants to set up a like a fair contest between the siblings, he could just do that. Of course, even without a story about the hidden gold, the Uchinomiya family's store of wealth was vast. That store of wealth alone was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever along with Kinzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't that interested in the gold itself, Kinzo had managed to instill the lifelong fear that on the off chance that someone found the gold, that person would be granted a headship. And this kind of Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner or later. The only person with this fatal weakness was the successor Cross. The other siblings had found no, they had been told by Kinzo about something. Only Cross could lose. They had thoroughly taken advantage of that. Natsu, as Cross' only ally in his painful position and as his wife, wanted to fight alongside him. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the goal itself was a farce, and that there was no need for him to compromise. Cross had always told Natsu. He had told all of the siblings. He always said that the hidden goal was nothing more than an illusion created by Kinzo. Therefore, Natsu had believed it as his wife, and supported her husband on that foundation. Even so, Natsu's words didn't reach Cross. Even though Natsu had fought so hard and had lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself, was trying to compromise with the other three siblings. Natsu sadly and weakly wondered why she could not be of use to him, and started getting angry. It had happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Natsu had flared up against Cross. Enraged, she had asked why she could not be useful to him. He had then told her that he wanted to talk about something, invited her into a room that she was normally not allowed to enter. Okay. The room had been sealed with a heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it, had given her an uncomfortable feeling. There's no need for you to worry about anything said by those three, or even this suspicious person who calls herself Beatrice. Does he also think that he might die? After all, the gold is just a ruse created by father. There's no way something like that could be found. Okay, so I was wrong. She is convinced that there's no gold. Your position as the successor is a solid fact. What are you afraid of? Cross removed the padlock on the door. He then motioned for Nasi to enter. Enter. What's this? There's something I want you to see. Gold? I've never shown you this before. Nasi timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Cross entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the lights, the two were swallowed up by the darkness. Only the sound of Cross locking the door rang out through the dark. What are you doing? The lights. I'm turning them on now. Wait. Just as he said, when Cross pushed the switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room. That is, as he had her breath taken away. The room had no windows, and at a glance it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table, as if it were a leading part in the play. On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust, and on top of that, something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. That something took Nasi's breath away. Okay. It's a gold ingot of incredible purity. Without this, no one would have believed in the legend of the gold. It was an ingot of solid gold. Even the faint light is sparkled with a noble and dignified glint. This is not a proper ingot. I don't even know whether it was cast inside or outside the country. It took a high-level skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots. In order to verify the purity, it was standard to have the original foundry and the name of the bank that guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. However, this ingot did not have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry. Look here. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a bar of gold. Natsuki, following Cross's words, timidly approached the ingot. Right here. Cross pointed at the surface of the ingot. Natsuki concentrated on this action. Right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Huh? Is that it? Doesn't look like it. Natsuki's breath was taken away once again. That's right. This is the legendary ingot that father said he received from the witch, that the president of Malusol witnessed and was allowed to select at random to take back with him. That gained the trust of fixers in the business world. I had to use all possible means to find it. I found it before the other siblings could. How could then the legend of father's gold is? It actually exists. The gold that Ushinomiya Kinzo received from Beatrice actually exists. Is this why he built a hotel on the island? To like try to find the buried gold using the construction? Impossible, so it really does exist. Where's the rest of it though? Nasi was shocked. Cross had always said that Kinzo's gold was just a fabrication, so she had believed it as his wife. However, the reality was different. Since he held definite proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Cross was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold he failed to find, costing him everything. Where did he find this? But to Natsuki, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that as Crust's wife, she would be his closest confidant, which was why she had selflessly supported him. And yet, he had hid this fact from her until today. Why? Have I been so undeserving of your trust? Has never been my intention. There was simply no need to tell you. Is that all a wife means to you? Calm down. Becoming passionate easily is one of your bad habits. Damn. You're the one who's making me like that, aren't you? Like, this is like a defining trait of Natsuki. If you think of it as like a bad habit that needs getting rid of, why did you marry her? I've been supporting you as a wife ever since I married into this family. For your sake, I threw away the family I was born into, and I've been offering up my heart and my body to serve you. And in return, this is what I get? How could you? Cross grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsuki, even if he didn't say it out loud. It doesn't look like I will be of any use to you anymore. That's fine. I can resolve the troubles with the siblings by myself. Why did you tell her this now then, if that's what you think? I feel like he's also putting up front. He told her this now because the weight of it is getting to him. And he's like not willing to admit that. And so I think that's what's happening maybe. I don't need your help. That's wrong. This is the Ushinomiya family's problem. It's true that I'm not permitted to wear the family crest on my body, but I'm still your wife. Even so, are you saying I'm not capable of helping you? Are you? Especially wouldn't want to risk getting you involved. You'll probably make your headaches even worse than they are now. Take a rest for today. The siblings will deal with the siblings' problems. There's nothing to do with you. That is all. Man, this side of Cross reminds me of my dad. A dull headache tormented Natsuki. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scents she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. And maybe Natsuki, but I was never Ushinomiya Natsuki. I've been despised and treated as a borrowed womb, and insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I've tried to properly perform my duties as a wife, but now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter, as if it were the last job left for me. To me. However, I've had no release from my anger and sadness, and they've caused me subconsciously strain. Subconsciously strain? Oh. They've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There's no longer anything I can do for the Ushinomiya family. No, that's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Cross will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head. It all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor, whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushinomiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushinomiya Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family, and if all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession, with George set up in her place. It is regrettable, but George is a man even more has matured as a person, compared to Jessica, who is right in the middle of her rebellious period. His grades are slightly below average. It can be seen at a glance who is more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband worthy of the excellent person she'll have become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all life's joy and sorrows. Man, this is making me so sad. It's Natsuki trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of her own. Yeah. Natsuki thought back to the days when she'd had no choice but to marry into Ushilomia family because of that unavoidable fate. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten it, and actively attended to the life she'd been given as Ushilomia Natsuki. In so doing, she has built up a new life, but just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. How should I think as... How should I think as I live my life? I do not know. Natsuki helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing, even though it should have been emotionless. Rather than it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsuki. She's not about to try to murder the siblings, is she? At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsuki didn't intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter. Oh, it's you, Mom. What the heck are you doing in a place like this? Thought you were a ghost. Just like always, her words were rough, not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsuki's throat. However, their strength gave out, and they didn't escape her lips. Jessica, forgive me, but my headache is awful. Please leave me be. I see. Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until just now, she'd been filled with contempt for all the parents, including her mother. But now those feelings have been completely swept away. Her mother's utterly exhausted face had wiped them all out. In its place, the words George had told her floated back up in her mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way. And because their families are counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant, have a heavy responsibility to fight. Maybe her mother had been standing around in the dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that part of her. Jessica hated her mother, so she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsuki just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother anyway, she had to clench her fist and gather up the words from deep in her heart. It sounds like you really got your hands full with that meeting thing. It's nothing to do with you. Please go somewhere else. Is your headache bad? Should I get some medicine? You don't have to trouble yourself. Please leave me alone. Natsuki wasn't being cold. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so that she wouldn't have to bump against Natsuki's own short temper. But there was no chance that Jessica would realize this. Okay. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsuki recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings. Then I'll leave. I'll be with the other cousins, so I don't get in the way of the adults. See you later. Wait there. She called Jessica, who was trying to leave, and looked lonely, to a stop. What? Thank you for being so considerate. It isn't good of me to go to sleep and leave you alone. Don't talk like that, you're bringing bad luck. What? I made you worried, but I'm okay now. I will go. If I let my daughter see this feeble any longer, I'll only make her feel more uneasy. That thought in mind, Natsuki left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time Jessica called out to her mother's back as he stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she stopped her mother, and for a while she smiled wryly, muttering to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket when her hand touched something and she took it out. Hey mom, I was giving a charm today. That was it, a charm against magic? What was it? I'm pretty sure that you were supposed to hang it from your doorknob, I think. I forget. There's no point in me having it, so I'll let you take it. It was the scorpion charm that Maria had given her on the beach. Although she'd heard of its various effects from Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank, and she was just barely able to say even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stuck out, grasping the charm. So when Nussie came back to take it, she was extremely shocked. What is this? Some kind of prize toy? Well, I think it's something like that. I guess you wouldn't really expect a charm that looks like a toy to do anything. But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand. Thank you. I'll take good care of it. Sometime soon, exchange. Why don't I give you a charm that was important to me when I was a child? It's not like that's what I gave it to you. But, well, if you really say so. And we will rest for now. My headache is awful. Try not to stay up too late. Sure. Nancy put the charm in her pocket and turned away. She then disappeared into the dark hall. Oh my god, this shit is making me so sad. Seems the weather will be like this all day tomorrow after all. Dang, this makes the good weather we had earlier feel like a lie. Okay, so I think we're approaching the end of this chapter. It's kind of slow. It's not as like at the end of the last chapter. I didn't want to stop because I was I thought this chapter might be like going to overdrive, but it seems that's not the case. And that's good for me because after this chapter, it seems I'll be able to go to sleep. But I just hope it doesn't like end on a new cliffhanger. George, Annika, and I were killing time in front of the parlor television. At that point, Jessica returned. Her face was still blank, but it looked like she'd calmed down a little since we last seen her. Is Maria still in front of the portrait? Oh, she just came back and she's sleeping over there on the sofa. It's getting pretty late for her, after all. Looking at the clock, I saw it was a little past 10 p.m. Even if we were planning to stay up all night, it was about time to head back to our room. Well, my mom did have a room prepared for us in the mansion. What do we do? I'd rather head back to the guest house. Going by what we saw of our parents, I think it'd be better if we weren't in the mansion. I agree. Feels like they're telling us kids to mind our own business and stay out of their way. Let's be good little boys and girls and do that. As we were talking about this, Aunt Rosa came into the parlor. She was looking all over restlessly, probably trying to find Maria. Aunt Rosa, if you're looking for Maria, she's over there on the sofa. Thank you. My, she's out cold. We must move her to a bed. If you like, I'll carry her over to a bed. Thanks, that would be wonderful. Are you all heading back to the guest house? Or are you going to stay in the room Nasi and San had prepared here? We're just talking about that. We just decided to head over to the guest house. I see. Then could I ask you to take Maria with you? I feel much more reassured if she stays with all of you cousins. Behind those words, she seemed to be concealing some regret that the adults, herself included, had deeply hurt Maria's feelings. Also, like earlier, you left her out in the rain. Leave it to us, Aunt Rosa. After all, we do have an expert at comforting Maria with us. Are you talking about me? I couldn't do it myself. We'll need everyone together. That's right. Battler, Weren't you the one to hit it off with Maria when you were messing around earlier? As we said this, Rosa smiled, looking truly happy. Thank you, everyone. Looks like our meeting will last until very late. So while I'm sorry to burden you like this, I'll be counting on you to take care of Maria. Hey Maria, are you sound asleep? We're going back to the guest house. Maria muttered something indistinct, rolled over, and fell back asleep. It looked like she was sleeping deeply. She's really out cold. I'd hate to wake her. Right, I'll carry her. Maria's body was much lighter than it looked. I lifted her up and put her on George Aniki's back. It was raining hard outside. Aniki couldn't hold an umbrella and carry Maria at the same time. It looked like Aunt Rosa would come with us as far as the guest house to help out. However, when she heard Uncle Cross's voice call out to her, she had no choice but to return. Wait, my brain has been blank for the past minute, I think. It was raining hard outside, and Aniki couldn't hold an umbrella and carry Maria at the same time. It looked like Aunt Rosa would come with us as far as the guest house to help out. However, when she heard Uncle Cross's voice call out to her, she had no choice but to return. Now that's a problem. I have to go back now. Is everyone returning to the guest house? After we left the hall on the way to the entrance, the door to the servant room opened, and Shannon-chan stepped out. It's grown very dark, so allow me to guide you. That'd be great, Shannon-chan. George-kun's going to carry Maria there. Could you hold an umbrella for him? Yes, certainly. Shannon-chan brought an umbrella for each of us and a flashlight to guide the way. As we opened the front door, the downpour was quite terrific. It looked like we wouldn't have any spare time to take a pleasant walk, enjoy the nighttime rose garden. Aniki, is she too heavy? Want me to carry her? It's okay, I can at least carry Maria-chan. I'm truly grateful. Please take care of Maria. Sure, you got it. Then I guess this is good night, Aunt Rosa. And I will see them over there and return here. Yes, please. Aunt Rosa watched us leave. Maria, I'm sorry for everything. Rosa's mumbling voice didn't reach the person in question, nor any of the kids, but disappeared beneath the sounds of the rain. After cutting through the rainy rose garden, we arrived at the guest house. If only I applied for the position of Maria carrier, then I wouldn't gotten a chance to have Shannon-chan's huge boobs rubbing all over my arm. Dude, that's not why I did it. It's a misunderstanding. I thought that if I didn't walk like this, George-sama would get all wet. Come on, quit babbling and go in. After being urged on by Jessica, we folded up our umbrellas and went to the guest house. Has anyone gotten their clothes wet? I can bring some towels if you want. You don't need to worry about us that much. Thanks, Shannon-chan. That's right. We're planning to play cards or something. Would you care to join us for a bit? Huh? Had a night shift on today's schedule. I believe we had a special schedule during the family conference. Also, I think a few alterations have been made, so I will go and check. Wait, if you have to go all the way back to the mansion to find out, don't force yourself. Oh, that's alright. I can find out from the servant room in the guest house. Please excuse me for a short while. Shannon-chan gave a quick bow and went into the guest house servant room. The rest of us headed for the cousin room, and decided to put Maria to bed for the time being. Maria was sleeping very deeply, and there was absolutely no sign of her eyes opening. For now, we'd get some soft drinks out of the room's refrigerator and drink those while playing cards or something. Damn, I could go for a soft drink right now. Oh, Kanon-kun. And you're here too, Genji-sama. What's happened with tonight's shift? Cross-sama has given an order. He made some sizable changes to the shift schedule. Indeed. Koda-san now has the night shift at the mansion. Shana and Kano have the night shift in the guest house. Kumasawa-san and I have been ordered to sleep in the guest house. Just now a phone call came, saying that once you arrived, you were also to remain here for the rest of the night. What the... Huh? It certainly is a sizable change. The shifts are at the guest house and the mansion have been completely reversed, haven't they? Originally, Shano and Kano have been assigned to the night shift in the mansion while the night shift in the guest house, where all of their relatives were staying, had been assigned to Goda, who had an abundance of experience in entertaining. Kumasawa should have been sleeping at the guest house, while Genji should be sleeping in the mansion. However, it seemed that Cross had suddenly ordered that the schedule be modified. The shifts at the guest house and the mansion had all been reversed, and Genji was spending the night in the guest house. It's probably because Beatrice-sama's letter. Why, probably. After such a mysterious letter appeared, it was only natural that Cross-sama would suspect one of us. We served directly under the master, so Cross-sama tried as best as he could to keep us far away from the family conference. I see. And Goda-san is trusted by Cross because he had less connection with the grandpa, and Kumasawa is trusted because she's around a lot and also not as close to grandpa. Genji, Shano, and Kano were all permitted to wear the Ushinomiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, as the servants who served directly under Kinzo. Of course, since they were working for the Ushinomiya family, they had to obey anyone's orders, but their only boss was Kinzo, I see. Since only Kinzo held the right to employ them, even Cross could not have them dismissed of his own accord. Because of this, Cross and the others often view these servants as Kinzo's underlings and shun them. And in fact, Kinzo seldom let anyone other than them enter his study. This sudden shift change was probably a clear expression of the sense of mistrust that had caused. Considering the time Kinzo had left to live, this would definitely be the last family conference before the problem the inheritance came up. On top of that, a mysterious letter that claimed to be from Beatrice had dropped in out of the blue. Cross definitely wanted to keep Kinzo's loyal subjects away from the table of such a delicate and important discussion. If you would excuse me, I will go rest. If anything happens, call me immediately. Our guest tonight is a special case after all. Yes, certainly, Genji-sama. Genji nodded back, went behind a screen, took off his jacket, and slowly began to relax after a day's worth of tension. Damn. The ones who just returned now, were they the children? Yes. The other relatives are having a conference in the mansion. Looked like it would drag on for quite some time. Then we've got it easy. It's already this late, and there's this weather. Well, like, aren't you worried that you won't be able to eavesdrop on the conference and report to Kinzo? The rest of the relatives will probably spend the night in their rooms in the mansion. Yes, probably. I'm only saying this because Genji-sama isn't around, but I'm a little happy I was sent to the guest house, I guess. Oh? Why is that? Because you can stay away from Madame and Ewa-sama, those bullies? Or do you have another reason? It's not as though I have another reason. I see. Okay, what? Isn't it just because she wants to be around people of her own age? Why is she so, like, tsundere about it? I see then, let's do our best together with our night shift. I'm counting on you, Nessan. Oh, Just now I was asked to go to the children's room and play with them. Shano hung her head apologetically, gazing at Kano uncertainly. But Kano's probably happy that for her, and then tried to meet her eyes, and spoke curtly as he sighed. It looked like he didn't plan on indulging his sister. Oh, I guess not, you can't. You're assigned to the night shift. Besides which, It isn't necessary for furniture like us to respond to an invitation to play. Okay, I understand, right? Yes, I do understand. Hmm. Shannon's shoulders drooped slightly. Okay, I guess that is one reason she doesn't want to say she's happy to be around people of her own age, because Cannon is kind of strict. She already expected that kind of a stickler for rules would say something like that, but she still seemed a little discouraged. As Cannon flipped through a logbook, he spoke without facing Shannon. That means the children will be waiting for you. You'll have to apologize and tell them you have the night shift and won't be able to stay with them. Go and come back. Yes. I'll go apologize and come back. Shannon hurriedly stood from her seat before her brother's mood could change and flew out of the serving room after giving a quick bow. As she watched her go, Cannon took a single deep breath. Genji's voice came from beyond the screen. Cannon, I'll be here, so you can go too. Genji-sama, Shannon was the only one called. It's not as though I was invited. That is only because you were not there at the time. If you had been, you would have been invited as well. It's good to play as a child from time to time. No, such a thing is not necessary for me. He's shy. Human children may have the need to play, but we are furniture. Holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Who are these people? What the fuck? Is that so? Nissan is also furniture. Even if she pretends to be a person, you will only hurt her later. I suspect that will be true. But still, holy shit. I understand that, so I try not to get too close to people, that is all. Genji did not say anything after that. After a while, he stood up and used a pot of hot water to make powdered cocoa, serving some to Kano as well. Is that for real? I had no clue. Thomas, you're too loud. I'll wake Maria up. Battler was so surprised that he yelled obnoxiously and scattered his cards everywhere. His voice caused Maria to turn over once, but she soon fell back into a deep sleep. Jessica gave him a jab, and he lowered his voice. Still, seriously, now that you mention it, they really did have that kind of atmosphere, didn't they? Ha, now I see. So George Aniki is... George couldn't be seen anywhere in the room. A short while ago, while Shannon came into the room, George suddenly said that he had forgotten something in the mansion and needed to go back and get it. Shannon said he would guide him, just like she had on the way to the guest house. The two of them departed together. Ooh. Well, there's actually been signs of it for a while now. You know, questions about hobbies and favorite things. I always thought it was a bit much for a passing interest. And look what's happened now. Come to think of it, I get a feeling George Aniki's always been overly nice to Shannon-chan. Now I get it. I thought he just liked Shannon. Are they, like, in a relationship of some kind? According to the weather report, it looks like it'll be its worst tonight. It also seems it'll last all day tomorrow, though it should get a little better. Really? Then maybe the boat won't arrive until the day after tomorrow. I hope that doesn't interfere with your work on Monday. I already knew the typhoon would be coming beforehand. Just in case, I made sure I didn't have any plans for Monday, so it's okay. I mean, I'll look it, but I really am the type who can plan ahead in his schedule. George puffed out his chest, acting proud. Compared to the calm appearance George always had as the oldest cousin, he now looked amusingly like a little kid. Shannon chuckled at this abrupt contrast. It's no surprise you're so well prepared, as someone who will bring prosperity to his company someday. Well, making a company prosper really is a tough job. Money isn't the only thing that's important. I learned that well when studying under my father. Making a company prosper is like owning a castle and leading our subordinates. that really loves reading about great leaders during the warring periods of Japan, a hobby that's probably influenced by the fact that he shares Toyotomi Hideyoshi's name. Oh. Much of his philosophy on managing business comes from talking about them. Did you know? Takeda Shingen, who was feared as the leader of the strongest cavalry corps in the warring periods, started out with his troops in complete disarray and didn't have the kind of strong leadership necessary to utilize them well. Did Hideyoshi have a Kansai accent? No. Okay, just curious. Is that true? That's a little unexpected. In order to unite his troops. Okay, this guy is the I don't know what the meme is called, but it's the guy at like a sports stadium with one hand for some reason on the girl's neck and like explaining something, and the girl's like looking away. In order to unite his troops, Shingen showed his excellent leadership in many ways. For example, when his soldiers succeeded well in battle, he would immediately honor them with a medal. Normally, this kind of thing was put off until after the war, and they were all awarded at once. He continued this diligently while on the field of battle, immediately showing his appreciation for his troops' military exploits, motivated them in an extremely significant fashion. Also, whenever one of his troops... Oh, fucking long, this is so long. Whenever one of his troops was brought down by an illness, he would be the first to rush up to them and care for them and so on. Takeda Shingen wasn't just a man who led the strongest cavalry corps in the warring period, he was the person who cared the most for his troops throughout that era. And because he was that kind of person, all of his troops went along with him. The truth was, Chadon had already heard the story several years ago, but whenever a discussion of his father led to this sort of topic, George would always glow and look like he was having a great time. Damn, he actually really looked up to his dad. So Shannon just smiled without interrupting, urging him to continue. Of course, in a capitalist world, money determines both your strength and the height of your fortifications, but you can't build up a castle or succeed in war by yourself. Such things can only be accomplished with the support of many subordinates by borrowing their strength. After understanding this, when I look at my father's back, I realize how immature I am. I can clearly see how much competition he had to overcome before building up all he has now. George saw me truly look up to your father. I'm jealous. Ah, sorry, that's not how I meant it. I'm sorry, that's not how I meant it either. The two of them awkwardly look at their feet. You guys like snuck out in the middle of the night in the rain to be alone. Just to discuss this? Shana had no parents. She had been brought up in an orphanage owned by Kinzo, called the Hukuin House. Doesn't that mean... Fucking what's the word? Let me look that up. Doesn't that mean gospel? Under the guidance of Kinzo, their honorary director, the orphanage offered members who excelled a chance of on-the-job serving experience. If their efforts met with Kinzo's approval, they'd be able to leave the orphanage and work as servants for the Ushilimiya family. Holy shit! Damn, rich people. And then you educate them to be furniture? It was considered to be the highest honor for those who lived in the orphanage. Servants from the Hukuin house all took names with a character on in them while they served. Okay, that's one big mystery solved for me. So Shannon wasn't her real name. The same went for Kanon. All of the members of the hooking house were orphans. Orphans. At least they were all people who had been separated from their parents under special circumstances. Because of this, the orphans had been taught to think of each other as their only family. That's why it seemed so natural for both of them when Kanon called Shannon his sister. And while both Shannon and Kanon were working in the mansion today, there were several other servants possessing the character in their names, such as Mano and Lenong, who often worked in a rotation schedule. Okay, I see. However, there were not many servants who stayed with the Ushilomiya family for long. It was standard for them to quit after 3 years, so you could probably say that Shannon, who had been working for 10 years, was a notable exception to the rule. Working as a servant for the Ushilomiya family was a heavy burden to bear, yeah. The pay wasn't bad at all. Okay. Working for a full 3 years would earn more than what was needed to enter mainstream society. That was why, even though the orphans realized what a harsh task working for the Ushilomiya family was, still hoped to be accepted. I see. Okay, so I guess it's not that bad. Maybe the fact that Shannon managed to continue working for 10 years wasn't because she had more willpower than the other servants. Maybe she'd gotten stuck working for 10 years because she didn't have the courage to say she wanted to quit, or the courage to enter mainstream society. I can see like growing up in an orphanage and then working for the family that financed it, and then getting used to that and feeling like the outside society is kind of scary. Kinzo couldn't even trust his own blood relatives, and these excellent servants sent from the hooking house were the only ones he could rely on. Because of that, Kinzo would sometimes allow them to wear the family crest, as servants under his direct control, have them work close to him. Okay, so maybe he's just an ultra control freak and can only hang around people who had who pretty much completely surrender to him. And his children are not like that, maybe? I don't even know. Like, they are pretty scared of him. You've been working here for almost 10 years now, right? You must have saved up a lot of money by now. I wonder, it's not like there's anything in particular I like to buy. After all, a few million yen isn't enough to live off for the rest of your life. So the reason you've been working all this time wasn't to hit some target sum? Yes, that's right. I have nowhere to go outside this mansion, and I have been getting along well with the milady and the other young servants. The madam does scold me sometimes, but caring for the roses and cleaning the mansion is fun. Holy shit, dude. But that can't be your entire life, Shannon-chan. No, Sayo-chan. Shannon cast her eyes downwards when she heard her real name. She understood what George was trying to say and fell silent. There's something I've learned as I continue to study even after becoming an adult and full-fledged member of society. A human's life is not as monotonous or short as we thought when we were kids. All school-age kids have certain fears they can't shake. They wonder whether they'll live the rest of their lives like sleepy classes after a monotonous and boring school day. Okay. Spending their time in a carefree laziness without anything interesting happening until it's all over. However, life is only like that for underage students. Compared to a human's life, the time they spend as students is nothing more than a blink of an eye, a period where they break through the shells of their immaturity. The inside of the shell might be a hot, suffocating, and boring world, but the world beyond that shell is vast and filled with limitless possibilities. Why must you talk in such a grand way? So far, your life has been trapped inside a shell called Shannon. I think you're under the mistaken impression that your life will continue like this forever. I'm under the impression that she actually likes it here. That's... Shannon couldn't deny those words. She being unable to harbor any clear doubts about her lifestyle. And since she never had any hope or goals for changing herself, she lazily continued living the way she always had. And if asked whether this life was satisfying, she wouldn't have been able to nod. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. She may have been intentionally averting her eyes from the truth. Without George's admonishments, she would have continued pretending not to notice as her real life slipped away bit by bit, neglected. Okay, George-sama. Is it wrong for me to continue living this way? Yes, it is. Oh, and by the way, didn't you break one of our rules just now? George immediately gave a strict answer, then broke out into a mischievous smile. Shannon already knew what she was being chided for, and she hung her head again, apparently embarrassed. What did she do? Didn't you promise not to use Sama when the two of us are alone? Okay. I couldn't obey that as a promise, but if it was an order, I would have to obey it, because I'm furniture. Then it's an order. I don't know. I'm not sure how to feel about this, because she keeps calling herself a furniture. And I feel like if you like somebody who's so... just... I don't know, obedient? I don't know what that says about you, if you like somebody who acts like that. Yes, certainly, George-san. As Shannon hung her head, her face red, she said George's name again, this time following with a son. Especially if she's your family's servant and you're like one of the... You were once the heir. You're still pretty... You're still one of the masters. I don't know, man, the power dynamic. Yes, that's fine, Sao-chan. I don't know, it's a bit... George smiled at Shannon, not Sayo, to praise her small act of bravery. The short exchange alone made it clear how far back their relationship must have stretched. For a long while, the two talked as if the weather raging about them didn't even enter their thoughts. They talked about the many memories they built during their relationship that no one else knew about. Every once in a while, a flash of lightning would attempt to interrupt them, but this could sully neither the roses nor the time they spent blushing at each other. Okay. Is this where the chapter ends? Okay. That's right, I have something I wanted to show you. My cock. No. What is it? George, who had been speaking eloquently, suddenly started to stutter. Watching him, Shannon seemed to get something. George timidly searched through his pocket. Something got caught in the depths of his pocket, and just like stuttering George, took a little while to get it out. It was a very small box. Holy! A small box covered in a deep blue velvet. The peculiar shape was enough to tell anyone what was resting inside. Shannon had prepared her heart somewhat, certain beforehand that this was what he'd been planning. But even so, when she actually saw it, she couldn't avoid blushing once more. George opened a small box, took something out, and held it out for Shannon to take. I want you to take this. I couldn't accept something so valuable. You cannot take it? No, I'm unworthy of such a thing. Sayo, this isn't a request, it's an order. Is that romantic or is that weird? Take this ring, okay? Ah, if it's an order, I cannot disobey. Yeah, that's right. Well done. Shannon, not wanting to show her bright red face, timidly accepted the ring from George's hand while still staring at the ground. That ring was a simple accessory, It's a noble object, meant since ancient times to be offered to special women under special circumstances. Therefore, while George could order her to take it, he could not order anything beyond that. Anything beyond that would depend not on an order, but on Shannon's no Sayo's own will. So from here on, I'm not ordering you anymore. Sayo, I want you to give me your answer by tomorrow without using words. Why do you give her a night? It's all flags, you're all gonna die. You understand? How should I? I won't order you any further, so this isn't an order. But a ring is something you put on your finger after all. If you like it, you can just put it on any finger you choose. Shannon had only pretended not to know. Surely understood what he wanted her to do, but she was standing at a huge crossroads of her life. That's true. Look how late it's gotten. Let's call it a day. George turned away from Shannon, acting just a bit bluntly. I could probably order you to wear it on your left hand. You might be timid and dependent enough to actually obey that kind of an order, but I want at least this last step to be done by your own will, Sayo. Understand? Yes. So, that's my order. I want you to think about it well tonight and show me your answer tomorrow. Okay, so maybe he's just very considerate. I don't know what to think about this. I don't know. Don't date your servant, please. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. So that's my order. I want you to think about this. Okay. Shannon nodded back. Today was the culmination of their many days spent together. This moment certainly hadn't come as a surprise to Shannon. We should be getting back to the guest house soon. Okay, I know nothing about their relationship. Maybe it's not weird. I have no idea. Do what you want. Oh, I'm sorry. I just remembered something I had to do in the mansion, so I have to go back in the mansion. No, you're gonna die! At a time like this? Is that true? George stared into Shannon's face as he laughed mysteriously. He definitely saw through Shannon's lie. Oh, what? Why did she lie? However, when he saw how she felt, he could sort of understand that she might be so embarrassed that she'd want to be alone. Okay. So because George realized the meaning behind Shannon's lie, he accepted it and left her alone. And you're both gonna die. Okay, it's only been an hour. All right. I'm gonna stop here. It's been close to 3 hours. Let's see, is there anything new in the tips? Right. Family alchemist. This is what they look like in the new art. He certainly looks a lot less suspicious in the new art style. What is that mustache? She looks older. Okay, that is just... Yeah, it's more or less every female character. What are these boobs? I don't know. It does. She looks younger than the old art version. Yeah, in the old art, she's what the fuck is that? She's the only one who has like huge boobs. I think. But the old version, the new version, everybody has huge boobs. Anyways. Okay. What happened to this game? Oh my god, so much stuff happened. I think I'm sleepy. I'm having a bit of a headache just thinking about it. So a big question is there a 19th person? The characters don't know, but from our perspective, we've seen how Kinzo acts. So we know that he's not in cahoots with somebody to like pretend there's a 19th person. He's completely convinced that there is a witch. So I tend to believe there is a 19th person. It's like, for example, stuff like Kinzo threw his ring into the rain. And then if we were to believe that that ring is then used to produce the letter, that is not something that can be planned. I want to say neither is the fact that Maria will be searching for a rose in the garden. But then it is a mystery why her wilting rose disappeared. But it would be... I don't know if it would be satisfying if it turned out like some mastermind took away the rose because they can like predict that would make Maria be alone in the garden for them to have a chance to approach her to give her the letter. The like single gold bar from Cross is also interesting. Wonder how it didn't really elaborate, like where did he find that single piece of gold and what does he know about potentially more gold bars? Okay, and if one of the 18 people approached Maria pretending to be Beatrice, who could it be? These two were playing chess together, so if it's one of them, they are both in on it. And the siblings were together, so if it's one of them, they would all need to be in on it, which is unlikely. I guess Rosa is actually the only person who like got away from the sibling meeting and was alone for a while. But we were like following her perspective when she was like waking up from the brief nap and freaking out about not knowing where Maria was. So it would be strange if she's the person who pretended to be Beatrice, gave her the letter, and then freaked out. Unless she's schizophrenic. And if it was one of the cousins, they would all need to be in on it. And Kumasawa and Shannon were doing something together. Koda was cooking alone. So I guess it could have been Koda? I don't remember where Kanon was. Or I don't remember what the claim was about Kanon's whereabouts. So it still could be one of the male servants. Don't know. Well, I'm guessing we're probably in the second half of episode 1 now. We'll see what happens. Bye bye.